Now, y'all, it looks like the beef is definitely escalating between Snoop Dogg and Eminem, and I got the exclusive information for y'all, so make sure y'all keep it locked. What's up, peeps, and welcome back to the Lionel B Show. It's your first time tuning into the channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on the videos, man. Also, make sure y'all click that notification bell button so anytime I drop a brand new video, y'all be the first ones to get it. Now, some of y'all, if y'all are not receiving my brand new videos, man, make sure you hold down the bell button and make sure it says all instead of personalized. Now, and also make sure y'all follow me on my Instagram. That's at the Lionel B Show. So on Clubhouse, man, a bunch of industry heavy hitters pulled together and they were discussing Snoop Dogg versus Eminem beef and saying how bad it was for the culture. Now in there we had Lathan, we had Royce the 5'9", we had Glasses Malone, we had Just Blaze, man, we got David Mays from The Source. A lot of people in there saying some real stuff. I'm going to drop the clip for y'all, man, so y'all can kind of get an insight as to what happened. I know some of y'all may have Clubhouse, some of y'all may not, but man, things was definitely going crazy in there. I'm talking about even at one point, Royce 5'9" actually got so upset, he actually wanted to kick Dave Mays out the room. So, of course, you already know Royce 5'9" is going to ride for his homie Eminem. So, some people were actually coming in there saying that Eminem is a culture vulture. So I want y'all to listen to this video in its entirety, man. Y'all got to check it out. There's definitely some interesting stuff. And I would love y'all opinion, man. Y'all drop y'all opinion after the video ends. Let me know what it is, man. Make sure you don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video. Get this video to 1,000 likes, man. Let's go.
That's the reason why. It's like it's hard for us to come to a general consensus on that because that's just how you feel. That's your opinion. You know what I mean? Like you may look at his involvement with G Unit, you got to remember, bro, all of the labels were scared to get in bed with 50 from a business perspective. Like Dre and M decided, man, what everybody talking about. I know this nigga got beef, but we're about to sign him because we think that he'll be great for the culture. He'll be big. You know what I'm saying? And that nigga 50 went on to create other millionaires and create other spaces. You know what I'm saying? And then like he signed Slaughterhouse, he signed Griselda. All of these things are just, to me, their contributions, whether they hit on a certain level or not. These are attempts for culture. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm talking about. I don't understand. If you take that away, then you're taking away pieces of history of culture.
Well,
I think we'd still be all right. I don't think this white man.
We wouldn't be all right. Be way better.
Hey, Mouse, though, listen to this though. You got to have logical consistency when you make certain arguments. So I feel where you're coming from, right? I get you. But it's not logically consistent if you say if you move M or you race M, then Royce gets that accolade when Eminem was part of the propulsion of Royce the 5 name, you know, because he held him and Eminem looked at Royce and revered him as in a certain way. Because I told Royce early on we first became friends. Like, yo, in my opinion, I always thought you smoked M on shit. But then Royce was explaining to me too, but like you had to be there to see the type of in the ways that M would calculate in his genius. They got to see it firsthand. And that's always different too. It's always different when you was on the team with Michael Jordan, aside from being in the stands. Because there's some niggas that don't think Mike is whatever, but the niggas who play with him is like, yo, you have no idea. This is completely different.
The nigga you talking to, Royce, is right here because of Cuz, dog. Like,
so that's what I'm just saying about logical consistency. You can't
that's like saying, fuck my mama, nigga,
and
then I'm here.
Right.
I'm here, nigga. Like, this nigga helped that nigga. This nigga helped the New York niggas. He helped the Detroit niggas. He helped a lot of niggas eat. And you talking about him like he ain't helping them.
But look, but everywhere, but notice this, though. But
it's bigger than that, though. It's bigger than that.
But listen, hold on. Listen. Everywhere we go in the world.
Hold up. Dave, you can't tell us what's bigger than that. We telling you what's bigger than that. We telling you, big dog.
I can say what I want to say. Okay.
No, you can say what you want to say, but it don't mean it's gonna hold no merit.
Okay.
It don't mean you dictate. It don't mean you dictate nothing.
I'm not dictating nothing. I'm gonna say my piece.
So what you talking about?
Can either fuck with me or they won't. But motherfuckers been fucking me for 30, 40 years because of the shit that I've done and said and how I am.
Now, that's how we fuck with them the same way, Dave.
What I'm saying is that
just like we you, Dave, we fuck with him the same way. Y'all the same mother.
We're not the same.
Now
You got that right, bro.
Okay.
You got that
Y'all
right.
motherfuckers
You got that
the
right.
same.
We are definitely not the same.
Y'all
You got that
same.
right. Y'all ain't the same.
I don't have none of that in my history. And what I've done as far as fucking with the
Dave.
streets and as far as fucking with authenticity and hip hop is documented. Okay, there's
You fuck Benzino. You don't know authenticity. I'm gonna kick your ass to the crowd,
Benzino.
motherfucker. Get the fuck
I
out.
haven't fucked with Benzino for 5 years. Number one.
Words.
You fuck cornballs.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I know it's okay.
Damn.
Okay. You sound like a cornball.
Is there popcorn? All right, enough of Dave Mays. He can go back to the audience. Go ahead. Who else want to talk now? Where's the fuck out of here, motherfucker?
for this.
Hey, yo, Royce. Yo, Royce.
Fuck you talking to, nigga? I'll put death on your doorstep, nigga. Fuck you talking
Damn.
to.
Yo, Royce.
Whoa,
Look at
yeah.
all this divisiveness.
This guy's gonna pull
Ain't no
Rocket
divisiveness.
launcher.
I ain't divided. I'm not one with Dave Mays, nigga. Let's get this shit straight, man. Y'all niggas in here acting like this motherfucker at the cookout or something. Get the fuck out of here, man.
He keeps talking about that
But-
tape, man. Let the tape go, nigga.
Anyway, what I said when I say it's bigger is that hip hop is a multi-billion-dollar industry and culture, but these hoods in America are as fucked up or worse than they've ever been. Okay, and if the course of hip hop hadn't been changed in that mid-90s after Pac was killed, okay, things could be a lot different, and they still can be through hip hop.
Hey, bro, I think Dave. All due respect. Don't tell me about my fucking neighborhood and where I'm from.
That's what I'm telling you. Dave.
What am I
telling you nothing but the facts.
Hold on.
You don't think the hood is as fucked up or worse
I gotta
than
make
it's
this
ever been?
point. I gotta make this point. I'm from South Baton Rouge, Louisiana. You don't know what the my people down there need. You don't know what they have.
How do you know what I know? What I don't. You don't even know me. You don't even know me or nothing about me.
But I can tell you. I can tell. No. I can tell you that. Fuck Eminem. I can tell you a white man. You're not gonna tell me what could fix the black community. You don't.
I'm telling you. I'm not. I don't have to tell you. I'm making a point about hip hop as a multi-billion-dollar culture and how that culture hasn't given back to the communities.
And I'm telling you that the people that the work that I do, people don't need hip hop. They need schools. They need books.
They need money. They need money.
They need
billions of dollars that ain't going to these hoods. Billions of dollars that's going to these 3 major international corporations that's taking the majority, the lion's share of the money. Okay? That's what they need. They need billions of dollars, but it ain't going to them. It's going to a select handful of motherfuckers who are in the system. That's where it's going.
And that's Eminem's fault. That's Eminem's fault.
He's a part of it. It's not his fault.
I'm trying to get clarity on something. You're part of it.
Like if he a part of it,
then you got to be a part of it. Jimmy got to be a part of it.
Everybody a part of it. Then
we're 2 different people in 2 different situations. What I did is documented. What he did, it was documented. They're 2 different things.
Wait, so Dave, are you saying that there was at some point a grand conspiracy amongst the labels to position Eminem as a pawn to remove the attention from black people when it came to hip hop, so that everybody would follow him? Is that what you're saying?
Not him, but
because you pretty much said that earlier. That's what I
said was there was a conspiracy by the record industry and other entities to change the course of hip hop so that hip hop wouldn't be dominated and controlled by black people from the inner cities, from the streets, who were systematically removed by the FBI and COINTELPRO that went on in the industry.
I want to hear this out.
This shit is real talk for motherfuckers that's been through it and know what the fuck happened. Okay.
Okay. So let me ask you this. So then,
let me ask Dave a question. Let me ask Dave a question. One mic. Let me ask Dave a question. Dave.
Yes.
Were you around when Benzino gave himself 4.5 mics?
Jesus Christ.
Were you around? Were you around and did you think he deserved 4.5 mics?
Wow.
This is a great question.
Well, there's that.
So why you let him do that? Because that was like the demise of the integrity of the Source magazine.
Nah, that wasn't.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. How can you get 5 mics and then turn around and
as a subscriber, it pretty much was.
You probably wasn't even around when I started the source. I don't, you kind of younger than me. So
Wow.
Who was it? I still have the very first issue sitting in my house, like the newsletter.
who's that?
Just
Okay,
yes.
I ain't fucking with you. That's love, and that's real.
No,
That's
but what I'm
88.
saying, but I'm agreeing
I
with
don't
the
think
point
Royce
that when
was
that
really,
happened, that was kind of pretty much.
Yeah, that was
really,
like the demise of the integrity of the Source magazine.
I don't agree
You
with that.
got to take
That was
accountability
it.
for that, Dave.
I don't agree. Demise of the Source magazine is much more complicated.
But
No, I'm talking. No, Dave. I said the demise of the
I
integrity.
agree with that review. I just told you I don't think it deserved it, but that was my man, and I went along with it at the time.
Oh, that's
Man, we get it.
At the
yeah. So y'all could
no,
do.
but I'm trying to
Y'all
pose
could
this
do little
thing.
shit like that. Y'all could do little shit like that and then turn around and be the culture police. I don't think that's right. That ain't right. Y'all ain't being held accountable for y'all shit that y'all do.
Why was the Source the hip hop Bible? Why was the microphones ratings so important? Okay,
Because of the integrity
Right.
was
Who
there.
built that integrity? Me.
Okay,
I built it.
listen,
And the
Dave.
writers that wrote for it,
Listen,
along with
Dave.
the writers that wrote for you.
Yeah,
Dave,
all the people that I
give
put
you,
down,
my
the people
brother, I give you
picked
nothing.
to
Listen, I give you
write,
nothing but
edit, and
respect.
do all that shit for the magazine, for my brand. Yes.
I give you nothing but respect for that, bro, for the integrity that y'all presented with the Source magazine. I'm saying when Benzino gave himself 4.5 mics, the integrity started going downhill. And I ain't even trying to be funny. It's just the truth.
That's a fact.
Probably right. That's probably right. But
That's a fact.
but that could have been fixed. There was other problems that
But
caused the
I'm still
demise
trying to
of the
understand,
Source.
Dave. I'm still trying to understand. You say that they were trying to systematically remove black people from controlling hip hop in the streets, from
Right.
controlling hip hop. When do you in your timeline think that actually happened?
It started when they killed Tupac. When they assassinated Tupac, that was the beginning of the end for the streets in hip hop, because Tupac was the last person in death row that really had power and was able to stand up to the major labels and dictate shit and be in control of shit. After that, there was a vacuum.
So previous to that,
you
you feel that I'm not. This is not me being funny. I'm asking a real question. You feel that previous to that, the streets and the black people were running what was happening in the hip hop industry?
they weren't running it entirely, but they had way more say and sway. Like I said before, a record had to be stamped in the streets before it could get to any type of mainstream success. You can't deny that. That's just facts.
Do you think
nobody that
do you
wasn't
think
stamped by the streets that had any sustained success in hip hop?
do you think that the
After
Source
that,
Dave, do you think
radio stations?
do you think that the Source Awards exacerbated that Tupac and Biggie beef?
The Source Awards, no.
You don't think
Hell
the
no.
Source Awards
Hell no.
ceremony?
The Source Awards brought everybody together in one place. The only time it ever happened. Brought everybody, because I was the one that could bring everybody from every camp together into one room.
So you mean to tell me niggas wasn't walking around in the Source Awards 30 deep with guns on them, and the energy in the air wasn't electric, and niggas didn't know what the fuck was gonna happen next? I mean, all I could base it off is documentaries that I watch. Am I off with that?
Okay, great. Well, but I was there, so you know what I mean. Like, it's a little different. But are you talking about the '95 Source Awards? You talking about something else? I mean, the '95 Source Awards. Nothing.
Were there more than one Source
There
Awards?
was no beefs. There was no violence. Nobody had no fights. Nobody got shot. Nobody got even punched in the face, slapped. Nothing. Okay. The shit that popped off with Big Jake, rest in peace, getting killed in Atlanta is what started the beef. And with Pac getting out of jail and Pac carrying whatever he carried from the robbery and the shit like that, and who he blamed for that, that's what fueled the beef between East, West, Pac, Biggie, Bad Boy, Death Row. Yeah, the shit that happened at the Source Awards, yeah, Suge said what he said, and that created a little bit, but that wasn't nothing that motherfuckers was getting killed behind.
Neither one of them got killed. Well, maybe Big. That motherfuckers didn't die behind that shit, man.
What you mean they didn't die behind it? Big Jake died. A lot of motherfuckers, several motherfuckers died.
That shit didn't die behind no beat, no East West Coast beat. That's not how Big Jake got killed. He got killed on some whole other shit, and then they started creating that.
He got killed.
Even Pac,
Death Row and Bad Boy.
No, Death Row and Bad Boy. Not that early, Dave. Not that early.
What you mean not that early? So why did he get killed? The fuck? That's exactly why. What you mean?
That's not what they said, Dave. That's not what they said, girl.
Well, who said?
Suge said.
Okay. All right. Well,
We taking Suge's word?
Yeah, for sure. Like for sure,
Okay.
I'm taking her word. Yeah.
Okay. I was genuinely asking.
Suge is my
Okay.
man. Big Jake was my man. And Puff was my man. I knew all of them, all the people involved, and all, you know what I mean, closely.
But by that same standard, with white people controlling the culture, it just sounded a bit weird. Like we all grew up on your shit, bro. Like being in your magazine was the envy for all of us. But even when you talking about it, it's like look at you and like you talk about him, like y'all kind of the same. I mean, maybe you didn't use the N word when you was little, but you is controlling a lot in black culture.
Yeah, yeah. From if you take a standpoint and look a step back and look at it from you could make that comparison, no question. I can agree with that. But as individuals and what our impact was and how we carried ourselves and the people, it's totally different. Again, like I said, first of all, like if he really was cut from the same type of cloth as I was, he would have been talking that pro-black shit from the time he got in the game, not years later after he was a multi-platinum star, after the racist songs came out. Can't nobody find no example prior to that of him talking any type of pro-black,
No, but
positive
you
shit.
just
So
learned
when
that.
did he? So when did he actually start?
Why do
When did
he
he
got to
actually?
talk pro-black just because he's
Why?
white?
Because as a white man in hip hop, that's your obligation. That's your responsibility. If you want to be in hip hop,
Who created that rule? Who made that rule?
I mean, that's
You
just
made that
common
rule?
sense to me.
No, it ain't common sense.
No,
No,
but
I ain't
hold
never
on.
heard
But
that
even
rule.
hold on.
No.
What
Wait,
other
common
white
sense
rappers done it?
aside, when did he actually start doing this?
He
Rival.
started doing
He ain't
it.
obligated to be no fucking
I got a
pro-black
point.
rapper.
Royce,
Y'all niggas sound crazy.
I got a point because he's saying that this was in response to this exposure. So my question is, what is your receipt for when he actually started doing this? Because you're making it sound like it happened right after.
Right out. I mean, that's when he went on and started like thanking a lot of the pioneers of hip hop, which he never did before. The Cool Hercs and the
No,
Rakim.
I'm not asking what. I'm asking when.
When it happened after we
I know it was
we released
after,
the
but
tape in
after could be
2002, like the
10
fall
minutes.
of
After could be 10
2002.
years.
Fall of 2002. So after 2000, from 2003 on, is when you'll find M saying and doing things that would be considered pro-black and supportive, as a white man in the culture should be, in my opinion.
But you don't
As a
actually
white
have
man.
receipts
I
of
don't
those
know.
things, right?
I don't know how I feel
Of
about a
what he's
white man
done,
being
of what he
pro-black.
did.
That just seems
Yeah,
weird.
he ain't pro-black, but in support, definitely. He ain't
Yeah,
pro-black.
like
He
I don't think
ain't
no white
pro-black.
man breathing air is
Nah,
pro-black.
he
I think
can't.
he just not
Impossible.
anti-black. But you don't got to be if you're a white man. You're not supposed to be pro. You could be whatever. You just don't got to be anti-us. You don't got to be fucking us over. But Dave, it's just a rough thing.
I
Y'all
mean,
went on a whole
if you're gonna be a
campaign with
leader,
him. That shit was weird.
in the culture, you do. You can't be a leader in the culture and not be
But we
supportive and
but we
pro-black.
also can't assign that role on Dave. Like you took on that role by choice. Like Ben didn't put no gun to your head, cuz, and say you needed to do this. You chose to do that, probably based on the niggas you was fucking with. And we can't be mad at the next motherfucker that do or don't. It's our responsibility to handle our community in the first place. It ain't no Eminem. It ain't Dave Mays. It's Glasses shit. It's our
Well,
shit.
right.
So
Well, then I'm handling for white people. That's what I'm saying to all these white people in hip hop that ain't acting like that, that ain't showing that. Is they're wrong, and it's fucked up that they can sit back and make millions, billions of dollars off this culture that comes from this poverty and this conditions in our inner cities, and not give a damn about it. You know what I mean? That's fucked up to me, and I'm not gonna stand up for white people just being in the culture, making billions of dollars, and not giving a fuck.
But this is the point though, Dave. Like, and this is I just was saying the same point about hip hop. Just because them motherfuckers rap, don't mean they hip hop. Rap has went mainstream. The
Right.
culture is
Well,
still
it
the
became
culture.
a business. It became commercial and a business. Sure, there's plenty of people that just rapping just to make money, But that wasn't what the culture, the authentic culture, wasn't like that. That's how the corporations ultimately were able to change it, to suck all that out of it, because that authenticity of the culture was there up until the mid '90s, era, until Pac died.
I don't really agree with that timeline. I mean, I'm too tired to sit here and really run down the timeline. But when you look at who was controlling 90% of the rap labels, it wasn't black people. And you can take that back to the Tough City and Profile Records days. You can go like you got the Robinsons, you got the Sugar Hill Empire, you got Bobby Robinson. I think who was doing Enjoy like that first run.
Right.
Sugar Hill Records, Enjoy Records, Paul Winley. Yes.
But this is all before the major labels really. That was all before the major. Once the major labels realized that hip hop was going to be around and last.
Tough City, early rap releases on. Like you got to remember, the major labels were the big indies. It was Tommy Boy, Tom Silverman. It was Profile. Like,
but they were indies. I'm talking about the major.
But those were our majors back. Those were our majors back then. And let's not forget that Tough City. People. And let's not forget that Tough City was run by a white man that had distribution with Columbia. So I'm trying to figure out at what point the point that you're talking about that it was controlled by us and dictated by us. It wasn't.
I'm talking about Aaron Fuchs couldn't sign a artist, a white rapper, in 1987 to Tough City Records and make him successful through his connections with the music industry. He couldn't do that.
Who did he sign and fail? Who did he sign and fail with?
He had to find who was on Tough City. Whoever he had to find somebody that was hot, that was popping in the streets.
Aaron Fuchs.
Tough City to make some money. That's what Aaron Fuchs and Tom Silverman and Fred Muneo and all these white men that were running Corey Robbins and Profile, all of them. They knew, hey, I got to find a black guy that's got some shit that the streets are gonna fucking relate to, and that's how I'm gonna make money. Okay.
Aaron Fuchs took a different route. This is Scratch, y'all. What up, everybody? Aaron Fuchs took a different route to control the game. He bought the rights.
Thank you. This is where I was about to go with it.
He bought the rights to impeach the president and some of the other records, the main records that we sample. He bought the rights to them and fucking sued everybody in hip hop.
Right. Well, he's
so again, and that's why I was asking about the timeline. And I was about to land on that with Aaron because our whole foundation got ripped out from under us.
But can you name a song that made it big or an artist that made it big prior to the late 1990s that didn't start with a buzz and a bubble from the streets? Can you name
it? Depends on the scene you're talking. It depends on the scene you're talking about.
That changed, Dave, because as the internet started happening, it made other people have a voice. The streets just wasn't the voice anymore.
On top of that, Dave, I mean, and I'm sure you're aware of this.
This started to change once they consolidated radio in '96 with the Telecommunications Act, where all the radio stations were bought up and controlled. It started with '96 with Hove, with Bad Boy, with all the artists that were getting on the radio. '97, '98, '99. That's when all this started to happen. Before the internet.
You are totally removing the late '90s underground hip hop scene from this conversation.
I'm not removing it.
But you are because you're talking about the streets, right? But then you have the success of Ruckus Records. Oh, another label that was
they weren't selling millions of records. They weren't selling Bad Boy numbers.
But they were running their particular scene. Which is
and they tried to sign M. He had a deal on the table with them.
I was there with M when he walked out of the. I wasn't there with him. I watched it happen. Is where I'm going with it. Like. I worked. My day job was literally right next door to Ruckus. I was there when at one point he was trying to do the deal.
What's the point you're making? Because
the point that I'm making is that you're talking about the streets. But I think Glasses have made a point, and he might not have necessarily articulated 100%. But the point that he was making was at a certain point it wasn't just the streets anymore. You had that whole Fat Beats era. You had that crowd. And that crowd, no one artist is selling 1 million copies, but you know what? You got 100 artists who are selling 20,000 with a much lower overhead, which causes a different empire to start to rise up. And that's the school that M came from. So no, was it the streets? No. Was it that whole lyricist lounge battle scene, sound bombing audience that? And don't forget, Ruckus, even though they weren't selling millions of records, they had Pharaoh, they had Mos, they had Reflection Eternal, they had Pillar
Big L,
in
Big L went gold.
Yes,
we sold 2 million records on Fresh Records too.
Exactly. Thank you, Scratch. So there's a whole other scene that's burgeoning, and that's the scene that M came from. No, he didn't came from the streets, and I'm not even defending him. I'm just making sure that the timeline is put in proper perspective and accurate. Because there's more at that point. There's more than just the streets.
Okay. I mean, everything you said is factual, but what I'm
There
talking
really,
about
there
is
really is no
Yeah,
what
but.
I'm
man.
I'm
talking
speaking
about is the
factually.
turning point in hip hop when the streets did not need to stamp something to make it become a multi-platinum successful song and
We feel
artist.
you.
That
We feel
that
you, Dave. But
started in the
it's
late
the
90s and
but
early
Dave,
2000s
it's
and
the
has continued to this
inevitable.
day.
Yeah, but
Now
Dave,
the
it's the
internet has
inevitable.
helped that a little bit, because
Not a
now
little
motherfuckers
bit,
can
not a little
can
bit. Dave, not a little bit, a lot of it. It's the inevitable. It was the inevitable that this was going to happen. I mean, even the
But look
fact
how
that
many
all of
years
those
that took. The internet came out in 2000,
The
2001,
internet was wait,
2002.
hold on,
It's
it came
only
out
in
in
the
two.
last
the
few
internet
years
was around
What?
like
that
90.
you can go viral.
What? I was on. I was on the internet when I was in high school in '94. What are you talking
He
about?
talking
What
about going
internet?
viral. He not talking
Who
about
was on?
literal internet.
Who was on? There was about 12 people on the internet in '94. Like,
No, there were not, Dave. Maybe not in your world.
He's talking
Your
about
world
the
ain't the
grand.
only
He's
world,
talking about the
bro.
Blake,
grand
Judge,
scheme. He
Judge.
not
He's talking
being
about like the
literal.
grand
I
scheme. He's
know,
talking about
I
like
know, but speak factually, bro. The people were
there
already
weren't there
creating
But
weren't
music
I
by
think
millions
the
of
I
people
people
think
were
on the
already
internet in
creating music by the
'94.
late
The
'90s.
internet didn't explode until the late '90s when all the .coms started
Like
raising
And
99,
that's
late
millions of
exactly
dollars.
the era that I'm talking about. That's my point.
Okay, but
but
during
but
that
but
era is when hip hop artists should have gone independent and used the internet to sell all their music